So, I mean, he's free to say that.
Sure.
I just think it's a little crass to use somebody else's personal life as an excuse for that.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the deal is Tiger's a Buddhist, so
Right.
and his advice was
Buddhists were not very happy about that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have calls lined up.
Okay, let's see.
So we're going to start with Sunan in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Are you there?
Yeah, this is Susan. Can you hear me?
Oh, Susan.
Oh, they missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like typo land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it. How are you doing today?
Okay.
I'm doing all right for my circumstances. My dad died suddenly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
sorry about that.
Like the day before I lost my job.
Oh, wow.
And next week my husband is going out to sea. He's in the Navy. And with all this stress, I've actually had some things with depression and stuff. And I'm in therapy. So this actually speaks more to last week's topic where they were talking about how kids make imaginary friends. I've been hearing, this sounds really awkward, I've been hearing voices telling me what to do, more along the lines of, you should get out of the bed and take a shower, you'll feel better.
Okay.
And my therapist said that that's actually in the range of normal. It helps me function. And I could really easily imagine someone thinking that this was God talking to them.
Yeah, I guess whenever you have that kind of stressful situation, it sounds like you've got a lot of stressors going on right now. I think it's normal to, I don't know, maybe it is your subconscious talking to you, telling you what you need to do.
My understanding actually is that there have been some interesting experiments done where, there's a particular part of your brain that that sort of distinguishes things that are external versus things that are internal. So they did some kind of experiment. I think there was one where people were put in some kind of virtual reality where they would move their hand around and the computer hand would move around, but it was sort of out of sync. And then when their brains adapted to that, later they would get out and their hands wouldn't feel like their hands. So so things that were actually coming from an internal part of them felt like they were coming from outside. And a lot of people, from what I've read, experience that similar sort of thing where they come up with ideas, but the ideas seem disembodied from themselves. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But if it is God, ask him to... I don't know. I need cure cancer or something like that.
Well, I also am a lucid dreamer, and I don't do it all that often. So I asked sort of myself to manifest the voice in my head, and when I turned around in my dream, it's just me. And the other me says, "Who do you think it was, God?"
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing some constructive things to work through the stresses that you have and the losses that you've had recently.
I've been through some job losses in the last couple of years, and I know that it is a really rough time for people.
Yeah, I really thought of my job as my identity, and I think that's really common.
Yeah.
And it's like losing part of myself.
I totally understand that. Keep at it. I mean, I hope things turn up for you soon.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably email you guys later and about stuff.
Okay, sure.
I'll get off the line.
All right.
Right.
Thank you for
Thanks
calling.
for the call.
Bye.
Bye. We have, let's see, Barrick in Bloomington, Illinois. Are you there?
Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hi.
I'm getting an echo where I can hear myself.
That seems to happen sometimes,
Yeah.
and all I know to do is inform the control room that that's happening.
Yeah.
So
Okay, just let me let you
just
Okay.
try to live with it.
Are you on a cell phone?
know. Yeah, I am. It's the only
Okay.
phone I have.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll try to ignore it. So a few months back, the local community theater group I work with decided to partner with a local Methodist group to put on a sponsored play that the Methodist group was going to pick, and it was 18th century play called Nathan the Wise, and I was interested in it because apparently it had themes of religious tolerance in it, which is, being raised a theist, at least I was raised a tolerant theist, so I was interested in it.
Did you email us before?
I did.
Oh, I thought I had
didn't
seen this story before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you guys didn't have callers, so I thought I'd call in and chat about it.
No, that's great.
So, just to recap a little, I don't want to try and go through the whole plot because it's pretty involved, but it takes place in Jerusalem during the Crusades, and there's this Jewish merchant named Nathan, who is Nathan the Wise, of the title of the play, and the Sultan wants to borrow money from him, and so to put the guy on the spot and kind of take him off his game, he asks him, well, which three religions, Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, do you think is true? And there's really nothing he can say that's not either make him a hypocrite because he's a Jew, or is going to actively have the Sultan take his head off for it. So he has to instead tell a parable about a magic ring that makes the wearer beloved by all people and by God, and how the owner of it couldn't decide which of his three sons to give it to. So instead he bequeaths them the ring and two identical copies, and the sons are at each other's throats because they can't decide. And they take it to a judge, and the judge says, well, I can't decide, so the thing that you guys can do is try and live as though your rings are the true rings, and after 1,000 years, your children's children's children will show the power of the ring, and then we can know who has it.
Okay. The ring did what again? Turn people invisible?
No. We did joke about it being the one ring. It has the power to make the wearer beloved by all people and by God.
Okay.
The play was. So, needless to say, very valuable. And everybody thought, oh, yes, what a great moral lesson, because, we have to be good people in order to exhibit the love and the light of God. But I just look at this and I'm thinking, the judges say, if it's for real, we know it. And I wanted to tell people that, but I just couldn't, felt like I felt like all the ink would go out of the room if I didn't.
It sounds like something that is ripe for an ending like Dumbo's Magic Feather, where, if you believe it, then it turns out to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically.
Yeah. So, and I just, after 1,000 years after the Crusades, I don't think we're doing any better. I think if that's the lesson I wish people had taken, it's, if any of these three religions was inspired by God, we really would know it. And they don't seem to be doing very well with the war. The wars, terrorism, everything going on in the world, they can be tied back to theism.
Well, you make a good point.
Yeah, it's just a story. It's something that happened to me. Just thought I'd call in and talk about it.
So how does it end?
Ultimately, kind of a cheap ending, I think, because ultimately Nathan's adopted daughter and the Templar prisoner of war that I was playing, they both turned out to be the Sultan's niece and nephew and our long-lost half-brother and sister, and isn't it wonderful that we're all actually related?
Okay. So how do things end for the Jew?
The Sultan gets a caravan of gold. He doesn't actually need to borrow money, but the local church fathers don't actually have to put him at the stake for raising a Christian child as a Jew.
Ah.